Psyche Truth. Life, wisdom.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Joy of Gymnastics. I'm Coach Joy. Today we are going to be covering our back bend. We will be working from standing and dropping back into our bridges. So let's get started. Coming to our straddles, nice and wide here, we're going to lift our right arm up, hug our bellies with our left arm, and reach over to our left foot. And really try and peel that top shoulder down and back so that way we can look up at the ceiling. And just go ahead and rest here and breathe. Just take your time in these stretches. So this video is just the first part of a two-part series for our back bends. After this video, we'll be going into how to come up from our bridge back to standing. So essentially doing our back walkovers. So much fun to come our way. And breathing and reaching that spine long. I'm always breathing into my top ribs here, really trying to expand them with my breath. Adjusting, constantly adjusting our poses. I'm not just hanging out and hoping my stretch happens. I'm actively pulling and pushing and twisting and reaching. Feeling every part of your body constantly working, no matter which the focus is on. And inhale, arms up. Hug your belly with your right arm and reach over to your right foot with that left. You can always kind of push your shoulder in front of your knees to help you twist and look up at the ceiling. Breathing in. I'm so excited to be practicing our back bends. Are you guys able to do your back bends from standing, or do you need to work on it still and that's why you're watching this video? Are you just doing this as a supplement to help you get out of your back bend back up to standing? Let me know what you're working on below. Breathing into our ribs. Expanding them with our breath. Constantly pushing, twisting. And inhale, rising back up. And exhale, folding forward. I always like to start out just a little bit easier when we're first trying to get into a difficult stretch or pose. You never want to push your way through anything. That's how we get injured. So just go ahead and take your time, especially if this is your first pancake of the day. This can be really intense on the hamstrings, the groin, the IT bands. Just breathing. Notice how I'm just slowly sinking closer and closer, moving with my breath. Letting my body take its time. Think about really relaxing the muscles. Things like to get really tight and they kind of just create this block when you're trying to stretch. So I just like to breathe into those areas. Just imagine what it would feel like to send your breath to your hips and expand and relax that tension. Just release. And inhale, you can walk the arms back up. And this time we are going to inhale, rotating our body back towards that left foot, and this time just folding forward. Breathing, just walking the hands, taking your time with your breath. If you can, kiss your knee. Always thank your body. They take such good care of us. We want to be sure we take such good care of our bodies. And inhaling those arms back up and rotating our torso towards our right foot and lowering down. Again, I'm not the learning curve of where you're at in your bodies. Only you are. So take your time. Allow yourself to be where you are. Don't let the ego push you past your comfort zone here. And breathe. And again, kiss your knee. Thank you, bodies. Again, really trying to let go of any tension here. And inhale those arms back up. And exhale, folding forward. If you can, go ahead and reach for your feet as you lower forward. And inhale back up and go ahead and tuck our knees. Oh, giving a nice squeeze here. That feels so good after that big old hip stretch. All right, let's go ahead and turn on our mats so we can have some room for our pike. Go ahead and bring those arms up nice and tall and exhale, folding forward. As always, these stretches and exercises are great for gymnasts of any age. It's really never too young to get them started. We usually start teaching kids gymnastics at about 14 months old. So we have them doing their pikes and their pancakes, and we have them doing forward rolls and practicing handstands. And it's amazing how young they can be and start picking up this stuff. So again, just feel free, any age, just go ahead and take part. Please just always remember your own limitations. You know your body better than anybody else does. So if there's something that you ever need help on or are unsure if you can actually perform it, make sure you have a friend spotting you or lots of cushioning around. Here, we're just folding forward, exhaling, and resting. I really want to make sure everything's real stretched out for these back bends. We do not want to overextend something and end up hurting ourselves. And then sitting back up, we're going to come to our knees next. Let's go ahead and warm up our arms a little bit with some backwards arm circles. I just like to go really slow and controlled here, as with everything that we practice. And I really want to try and press my hands together behind my back on my way down, keeping them as close together the whole way. This will help to really open our shoulders. It'll help us with our back flips, our back handsprings, back walkovers, which is what we'll be putting together today. Doing the first piece of at least. All right, and then let's go ahead and just swing our arms back and forth. I try and clap my hands behind my back. Again, really just trying to get everything all warmed up here. I really try and reach as far around my body and give myself the biggest hug that I can when I'm practicing these. All right, let's just go ahead and roll the wrist out. And the other direction. And just shake, shake, shake. And now we are going to get warmed up for our camel. So how I like to get into my camel is by just taking my arms and grabbing the backs of my legs and sliding my way down. If you want to, you can always reach one leg, then the other, and start to lower. But whatever you need to do, just take your time. Again, we can also walk out our knees slightly, just a little bit wider than hips distance, to allow room to reach back for our feet. So I'm going to inhale, nice and long, exhale, and inhale, going back into that back bend. We want to push our hips forward while reaching our spine long. Walking our hands back if we can. Breathing. Growing our spine as long as we can. And to come out of this, I just like to tuck my chin and slowly slide my back to the floor, which can also give a good quad stretch. So then we're just gonna rise back up to our knees. All right, good job. If you were able to make your head to the floor, that's awesome. You are getting so much closer to be able to doing the full back walkover. And like always, if you're still just inching your way back or going one leg at a time, that's perfectly fine. Just go at whatever your pace is. Now I'm going to sit back onto my bottom. I'm going to flip around so I can lay back in my bridge. When I lay back into my bridge, I'm going to make sure that I have my hands placed just over my shoulders in a flat position. And this is how I'm going to be able to press my body away from the floor, keeping my elbows in nice and tight. So pressing through the feet to lift the pelvis first, then pressing with the arms, keeping the elbows nice and pulled in, I'm going to lift up into my bridge. Now for a gymnastic bridge, we want to make sure that our feet are together and our legs are straight, pushing our shoulders over our wrists. And breathe. And if you're having trouble getting your shoulders over your wrists, you can always press and rock into your shoulders. And tuck the chin to roll down. So I always like to reset, putting my feet back at hips distance, placing my hands under my shoulders, pulling in the elbows tight, and pressing up into my bridge. going to bring my legs as close together as I can, and then I can walk my hands back slightly and bend the elbows to lower myself to the floor. And press back up. And exhale, slowly lower down. Inhale back up, rocking forward. Exhale down, inhale up, rock forward. Exhale, press down. And neutral, tuck the chin. And lower back down. So now we'll come to a tabletop position. To get into my tabletop, I'm just going to have my feet at about hips distance apart and hands just behind my back. Then I'm going to press up, pressing firmly through with the pelvic. I'm going to take this to one hand, and I'm going to practice standing up from tabletop using my hips to drive forward and up. So I really want to push with the pelvis and slide up. And it may take a couple of times to get used to, so we're not moving our legs around. But again, if you need to step your feet just a little bit past your hips, that's okay. Then I'm going to go back with that same hand, again, using the hips, driving forward to lower me down softly. So I'm not just collapsing to the floor, and it's not all in the knees. Placing my left hand on the mat, driving with the hips up to roll up, and then we want to squeeze and lead with the chest up to standing, and reaching that left hand back down, driving the hips forward to slowly lower, and switching hands. So let's go ahead and do that one more time each side. Pushing up with the pelvic and driving up and reaching back down, switching hands, driving up with the pelvic, following with the chest, and reaching back down. Good job. So that is essentially going to teach our bodies how to use our hips to help us lower to the floor into our back bend. So we're going to go ahead and now stand up on our feet and practice the real deal. So again, taking the hips, taking the feet wider than our hips, reaching those arms up by the ears. I want my scalp to follow my hands back. And to initiate this, I'm going to start it in my hips and then roll, kind of waterfall my spine to the floor. And here we go. Control. And pressing firmly with the hands. We do not want to collapse on our heads here because we could really hurt our noggins or our necks, and that's not fun. But if you landed, great. If you feel like you need to practice this with a spotter, go grab a friend and try it again. So if you're sitting there thinking, how in the world? There's another way to get into this that will help ease you into your back bends. So we'll take a progression. What I like to do is I grab the backs of my thighs, kind of like I did in my camel, and essentially walk my hands down my legs for support. And hold wherever's comfortable. Just go to that point where you think, I may not be able to come back from this, but I just may. Bring it back up. And that's how we're gonna build our muscle to be able to lower all the way down. Then after all of that back bending, I usually wait till I'm finished with my back bends to do a nice forward fold to counteract all that reaching back. I know that a lot of yoga instructors or classes that you might take might have you do a lot of forward folds or kind of body rocks to massage out the spine in between your back bends, but I feel like that's kind of counterproductive because you really want to keep opening and opening your spine up to really reach to its full potential. Then when we're there and finished with our practice, we can fold forward. Again, if you want, we can really make this just a back stretch. Bend the knees, relax the neck and the shoulders, so when you give yourself a jiggle, it kind of acts like a wave throughout the body, and your head and your arms are wiggling too. And inhale to straighten that back and stand back up. As always, thank you so much for joining me in today's practice. Please keep in mind that anyone and everyone can practice these stretches and workouts. Always feel free to grab a friend for a little extra support if you ever need it. Please be sure to subscribe to this channel so you can see the second half of this series where we actually walk out of our back bends. And also be sure to favorite this video if you want to keep coming back to it. If you're still finding you're not reaching all the way to the floor, you can just keep on working hard. Thank you so much and hope to see you again.